Welcome to Movie World, the place where we only talk movies. I'm Andy Signor, and today I'm here to review Clint Eastwood in Cry Macho. This film opens up in theaters this weekend and is also streaming on HBO Max. And I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised. Now, I have to warn you, this is a slow burn of a film. This is an adult drama. Clint Eastwood is now 91 years old. Bravo, sir. I don't say that to age shame you at all. I'm just massively impressed that you still are working at this level when you could just retire and phone it all in or just sit at home. But no, Clint Eastwood has been doing some of his best work in these later years. And while Cry Macho isn't, I think, his best film, it's a fair addition to his film library. The film centers around Mike Milo is the character he plays. Takes place starts in 1979, then fast forwards to 1980, where the film predominantly takes place. And Mike is out there fulfilling a debt to his friend, who played by Dwight Yoakam. Dwight has a son out in Mexico that has now grown up, and he wants to see him. And he's not able to go in, so he's asking Mike to do him a favor to go to find his mom, who apparently is not a very good person, and see if they can get his son, who is now 13, to come out and live with his father. Clint owing his friend after everything he's been through, which we learn about more throughout the film, takes it up and drives on over to Mexico across the border to locate this boy. And throughout the journey, the quiet Clint Eastwood, always sort of playing similar characters, let's be honest, but I like when he does that character. A man who, says a lot by not saying much at all is really what the role is yet again. But now there's the age is starting to show. And Clint Eastwood is embracing it, not afraid of it. There are moments in the film where he literally decides I have to take a siesta. He takes a break, but he's still that machismo, that macho man that will also just pull on over and sleep out in the dirt to see the stars and have a fire by him. He's still that manly Clint Eastwood, even at 91 years old. But, it's a little bit more of a fragile Clint Eastwood that we get to see here. He throws punches. He gets in some fights. However, it still does feel like this is a older, I'm trying to say it nicer. You know what I mean? We're watching an older Eastwood, but in no way did I feel like this was the senior citizen version of Eastwood that we're like, oh, he's got to stop. No, I admired that he was aging gracefully and embracing that in the story. The film sets up and starts with him trying to locate the boy, which, as the trailers sort of show you, he does. He does eventually locate they call him Rafa. He calls him Kid a lot throughout the movie too. But they finally unite, and the kid's annoying at times, just like most 13-year-old boys can be. At times, it does feel a little overacting, the actor playing the kid. He did rub me the wrong way a few times, just overly doing things. But as he goes and the film goes, just like I feel like would in real life, the whole thing grew on me. I started just to follow along with the story and get more invested in Mike and the character, and it really does turn into a sweeter story than I imagined it to. Rafa, the kid, let's call him the kid. The kid has a rooster, a cock he calls Macho, which they sort of joke about a couple times throughout the film. He wants this rooster and therefore himself to be stronger because he's been growing up in not the best atmosphere. He doesn't feel wanted by either of his parents. And so when Mike shows up, he, fights back. But obviously the film is about these two establishing a relationship of their own, as well as trust and finding people to believe in is really what this film is about. And the strength in, taking those risks, is really what the film ultimately becomes about. And that's where I connected on the film more. It definitely gets better as it's going, as you start to seeing the story unfold. And it's a pretty quick story. I was worried it was going to be a 2-hour long journey, but no, it's about like an hour and 30 or 40 minutes. So it doesn't overstay its welcome. It lingers in parts, and there are moments that, probably still could have been trimmed that, audiences with lower, quicker attention spans will probably start getting frustrated by. But I really enjoyed where the film went, especially the romance that the film eventually twists into sort of in its second half. While they're sort of avoiding the federales and stuff throughout Mexico and the troubles that they have and sort of trying to get their way across, they stumble upon a town where Clint meets this woman, Marta, who speaks Spanish, and she's a chef at this restaurant, and they begin a flirtation that I really actually just brought a smile to my face. We learn they're both widows, they're both older, and they both sort of have this level of respect, and they both just want to be good people. And, you know, it's a nice, sweet story that the film stumbles into that ultimately sold me. It won me over, which I wasn't sure if it was going to, especially in the first sort of act as you're watching this kid and Clint, you know, constantly bicker. You realize I think that was sort of what he was going for, right? The journey of an older man and a much older man and a little 13-year-old kid who's still trying to find his way in the world. And Eastwood, who has found his way in the world. And there was a quote, a theme throughout the film that he talks about. Where he's like telling, you know, the kid that being macho is stupid. You know, all these people taking those risks of riding bulls, they're idiots. And he says, you know, you really think you know it all when you're young, but the time you realize you don't know it all is when it's too late. And there's a lot of themes of that, of just sort of aging and coming to terms with yourself and maturing and realizing you don't have to just be out there being macho all the time and doing stupid things for attention. And the beauty of trying to help to raise someone, whether it's a child or a brother or a friend or, you know, being an uncle and your nephew, niece, whatever. There's just something about this wonderful connection that they're able to have that grows them both as characters. And I got to say, I really did enjoy the film overall. It's not one of Eastwood's best. I think it's a middle entry for him, but no way offensive by any stretch of the imagination. I think his audience will eat this up. If you're a fan of Eastwood, it's going to be nice to see him do this. It's so fun to see him on a horse again. He gets to ride a horse, be the cowboy, wear the hat, which we haven't seen him do in a long time. And I really enjoyed that part of the film as well. Overall, look, I think it's a fun movie to see in theaters, of course. I think a lot of people who Eastwood fans probably will have no problem, a lot of them, going out to theaters and supporting this film. I think this film could have done a lot of money, like a lot of his films do, because he makes them very lean, low budget. And so these are easy studio wins to have these movies out there because he's still a draw. But he's definitely getting up there, and the age shows in this film a little bit more than usual. But I'm glad Eastwood embraced that. You get to watch him aging on screen and realizing, yeah, this icon is not going to be with us at some point. It's going to happen. And he's making movies till the end, it seems, and I applaud him for it. It's a beautiful thing to see that he keeps putting these films into his legacy, and I think this one is a nice add-on into it, and I do encourage you guys checking out Cry Macho if you're an Eastwood fan. I think a lot of people who sort of get, the politics of Eastwood and everything might be worried about the themes in this film, but the reality is I think it's really actually a nice, kind film for all sides. Republicans, Democrats. This is a subject matter in an area that he could have handled and pissed off certain people. But I would be surprised if they are. Now, people might be bored and find it generic. Those criticisms I could see being fair, I suppose. But he sold me. It grew on me. I did enjoy this film. It's a nice little cute, fun story that I do recommend. Again, if you're an Eastwood fan especially, I think you will enjoy it. Are you guys looking forward to seeing this? Will you go to theaters? Will you see it on HBO Max? Tell me down in the comments below. Helps the algorithm when you leave a comment. While you're there, make sure you hit the bell and the subscribe button, the like, all that stuff to help this video and the engagement here. I have another Clint Eastwood video I was working on. I was hoping to get it out before. You'll get it soon. But I've been watching In the Line of Fire as part of a new series I'm going to be bringing to you. And it was really fun to watch the juxtaposition of this and one of his last real action films. But I'm going to be breaking that movie down for you soon, hopefully today or tomorrow. I don't know. It'll be out here, but at some point, it'll be right here on this end card. If it's not there yet, check back. Make sure you hit the subscribe and come check it out when you see it. I'm really proud of this new show, and I really love that film. We're going to be revisiting a lot of old films, so thank you for watching here on Movie World.